Hello, everybody. Ryan Jewell here. I'm a senior technical success analyst here at Civis Analytics, and today I'll be introducing to you a brand new tool on Civis Platform. We call this new tool Audience Builder. Audience Builder is an AI-powered list building tool on Civis Platform that allows users to query and filter data from their tables using natural language without needing to write SQL. It relies on well-structured table metadata like column comments and consistent data types to generate accurate, useful query results for clients building targeted lists or audiences. These results can then be exported as a SQL query, a CSV, or you can activate these audiences by exporting them to Van and Meta. One of the great things about Audience Builder is that it can be accessed by report viewers via a user upgrade. Normally, report viewers on Civis Platform can just see reports hosted on platform, whereas on the other hand, standard users on Civis Platform have direct access to their org's Redshift data. Standard users can still access the Audience Builder tool, but for report viewers, this gives them a sandbox to dive into an org's dataset in an environment that leverages AI, so knowing how to code isn't necessary. As you see, I already have Audience Builder pulled up with the dataset preloaded. At the top here, you can change the name of your audience. It also gives you some information about the table, including the name of the dataset, the number of columns in the dataset, and a description of the dataset. And you see here, where it says describe your audience, there's a chat box where you can start talking to the AI to narrow down your dataset. So let's start out with a hypothetical. Your development director needs a prospect list for a major gift push. Normally that's a conversation with a data analyst, a few days of back and forth, and by the time you get the spreadsheet, it's kind of already out of date. So let's see how quickly and easily we can spin up that list without any of that back and forth using Audience Builder. So to start off with, first we want to find contacts who are homeowners, married, have a high household income, and have a phone number on file. So let's drop that into Audience Builder, right? So we just ask it, find contacts who are homeowners, married, have a high household income, and have a phone on file. We have it in a matter of seconds, and it applied some filters to our data, determining whether or not the individual is a homeowner, whether or not they are married, whether or not they are high income, and whether or not they have a phone number on file. The bot also flags the buckets it used for high income, and if you want to change that, you can just ask the bot to alter those filters, perhaps $150,000. And this example is high income to you, so you might want to change that. Also here at the bottom, you see how these filters actually apply to the dataset via SQL. So this is the query that is being run under the hood, limiting it to 10,000 because that's what we want our max audience size to be. So you can grab this if you want and put it in a SQL job somewhere else on platform, or you can share this query internally to get it double checked. Next, you can see at the bottom here, you can toggle on and off the counts. We have filters pulled up. We can also pull up charts. So as you saw in that SQL query, we are selecting star from the underlying data. So these are variables that are already in the data set. These gender, race, ethnicity, age, income variables are already in the data set. So the AI can then leverage that and pull them into these charts where we're able to compare the overall data set, which is all people, versus the audience we have filtered down to. So as you see here, whether or not somebody has a phone number on file, everybody in the audience has a phone number in file, as that's one of our filters, so that matches our expectation here. We can also see gender breakdowns, age breakdowns, race breakdowns, marital status, and the list kind of goes on and on. Whatever demos you have, it'll recognize those demos and create some plots for you. Next, let's go over some sample rows. So you can also quickly view a number of sample rows here in Audience Builder without having to download the data or export it out in some form or fashion. You can check, sort of do a little check to see if the data matches your expectations, or just get a glimpse of what the data is under the hood if you're not familiar with it. Next, let's go to the dictionary. So before uploading your data into Audience Builder, you want to make sure there are column descriptions, so the AI understands your data a bit more. For example, if you have a variable called ST, the AI might assume that is state, but it might not be a state column. So giving the AI some column descriptions help it better leverage your English language inputs. Next, we can go to export. We can download this directly as a CSV. We can export it to a table on Redshift. We can also do a Van export of the data if we want to activate our audience. And we can do the same for Meta. But for now, let's go back to the filters. Let's add a few more filters onto our data before we're done. So now we're going to ask the AI to show me this broken down by urban and rural geographical locations. So as expected, the filters haven't changed. You're just looking at the breakdown of the current 2,000 contacts. If we want to view this breakdown, all we have to go is look at our charts and go down to this urban, rural, and suburban plot right here. But perhaps we want to just focus on 2 of these areas. So let's narrow down our data to just urban and suburban contacts only with a high net worth. So here it's not sure what high net worth means to me, so it's asking me to identify what does high net worth mean in this example. So here I'll just tell it to do 250,000 plus. Okay, after I identified what high income means to me, it lets me know that this narrowed down the audience to a little less than 800 individuals that are homeowners, married, high income, and have a net worth of $250,000 plus with a phone number on file in suburban and urban areas. As you see here, the plots on the right have changed to match the new audience. And if we go over to filters, we see there are additional high income earning filters applied to the data set, in addition to suburban and urban are being filtered on. One other filter we have in this data set is a donor likelihood score. So we don't want to contact individuals that aren't highly likely to respond to our outreach. So let's further filter to contacts with a donor likelihood score of 0.7 or above. Now we have this data set narrowed down to about 250 individuals that are highly likely to respond to our outreach and have a high net worth. Now that we have our list narrowed down, we might want to check the charts again to make sure our audience looks like what we expect it to look like in terms of age and income. And of course, if our audience doesn't look like what we expect it to be, we can refine our audience a little bit more with the AI. Now that we've narrowed down our audience to those who are likely to respond to our outreach, and we've double-checked the charts to make sure our audience looks the part, we can now export that data, as I mentioned earlier, either via a CSV, a table to Redshift, to Van, or to Meta. So that's Audience Builder for you. It's a nice little sandbox that allows report viewers or standard users to access their data directly via the help of AI. They don't need to know how to code. They don't need to know how to build plots and tables. All you got to know is how to use the written language to tell our AI how to limit your data set to the audience that you're wanting to target, and then you export that data to your desired location. So that's Audience Builder for you. If you have any questions, please email us at support@civisanalytics.com. And for now, I'll see y'all in the ticket queue.